How's it going, everybody? Welcome. So this is going to be a probably a little bit more in-depth video than what I usually do for you guys, and it's also going to be a little bit longer video. This video is only going to be for the Patreon, though. It's not going to be going out outside of that. So this information is going to be something that I'm going to target a little bit more towards the stuff that we cover in the Patreon. So with that being said, this is what I hope to be one of the most helpful videos that you'll end up watching on the channel, or in the Patreon and everything, because this one is going to help you to structure your flipping in order for you to be able to earn very, very, very high amounts of money. To give you an idea of what this video is going to cover, this video is going to cover how to earn 1.5 billion per month, and then how to earn 3, 4.5, 6, and beyond. I'll be showing you how to earn basically about 12 billion per month, and in all reality, you're not really limited to that. But I'm just going to show you how you can structure your flips and your progress in order to give you a result that is going to be somewhat close to those numbers, or even beyond. So. And the reason why is because a lot of people have asked me, okay, what should I do? What should I prioritize? And we have the flipping mastery section, like the flipping mastery information, that is, it's the section in the Discord that tells you guys the basic flow. So I'm not really going to cover the basic flow. I would highly encourage that you stop this video right now and make sure you look through the flipping master information section. And after you have done that, be sure that you have watched Flip Mastery, Flip for Wealth on the YouTube channel if you've not watched that either, because I'm not going to be covering basics in this video. It'd be way too long. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. And then you'll probably be able to understand what I'm trying to say here, what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to give you guys two different examples of like a daily flow. So a daily flow would be, I'm not talking like a specific thing about how you do things in the Discord, because like I was saying, I'm not going to be covering what I show in the other section over there. But a daily flow more along the lines of, what are you doing during the day? What are you doing while you're on Runescape? What are you doing in order to be able to optimize how much money you are earning in the game per month? A lot of you, and probably all of you, honestly, are trying to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to donating for one of the higher packages in Patreon. And I really hope this video is going to be able to rocket your success and be able to at least improve what you're currently doing. So let's go along with the first one. So the first flow could be something like this. We have in mind, I don't know. I'm really tired when I make this video, but I swear we'll be able to get through it. So there is a 4-hour buy limit on everything, pretty much, right? So there's an X number of things you can buy per 4 hours. With that in mind, what you want to do is structure your day, structure your flips around that buy limit. So what that would mean is, if you woke up at 8 a.m. and then you did your flips, and then you could do more of them at 12, and then you could do more of them at 8 and then 12 and then 4. I'm tired. And 8 and 12 and then 4 and then 8 again. And if you're a night owl, then you can do them at midnight. So that is one idea. That is like one version of a daily thing that you could do. If you're somebody that is a bit more, I don't know, you want to go above and beyond, or maybe just have a different sleeping schedule, you could do something where you start up at 6 a.m., do your flips. You got another flip section at 10. Then you've got 2, then you've got 6 again, and then you've got 10 again. This one right here is something that would probably be easier to follow. Simply put, because you're not trying to do flips at midnight. That would really suck. But this right here would also be a really great way for you to be able to balance your life with RuneScape, because the fact that this would be getting you up at 6, and then you're probably going to be wanting to go to bed as soon as you got done. Now, both of these were examples of you doing 5 buy limits per day. You don't have to do 5 buy limits per day. And with the fact that the companion app is no longer in function, and if you're watching this video after mobile is already out, then kind of ignore this part. But RuneScape 3 mobile will be coming out soon, and when it does, then you can jump back into flipping just like you did in the companion app. So if you're not really able realistically to do the 5 buy limits per day, or a 4 buy limit per day, I can fully understand that, and that is, someone running a busier schedule cannot really handle that. Something to keep in mind, though, if you do have the schedule or you think your schedule might allow it, it does not take that long to put your offers in. I mean, realistically, what you could do is if you already know the prices, like if you looked in the chats and you already know the prices, then you could put in a total of 8 offers at, let's say, 6 a.m. And then when it comes around to 10 a.m., you are selling off those offers, and then you're going to be putting in 8 new offers. And that's going to be happening at 10 a.m. So you could do something like that, where it is you taking on 8 items at 6 a.m. and then you have to run out the door, and then by the time you come back around, you can see what is bought, what is not bought, or whatever. The thing with buy limits is the buy limit begins right when you actually buy the first item. So you don't have to wait to sell it. You don't have to finish buying the entire buy limit. Some people confuse it sometimes, and they think that you have to like fully buy out the buy limit before, like, your 4-hour thing will start counting. That is not true. It is when the very first item successfully goes, then that will start your buy limit. If you're flipping things that have a very high buy limit, like let's say you're going to try doing some potions, then another way to forcefully start your 4-hour period, which could be very useful if you're worried about items not buying in time, like, let me show a quick example of that. If I throw in my offers at 6 a.m. and I'm trying to make sure I flip at 10 a.m. next time, what happens if an item doesn't buy until 6:45 a.m.? Well, that means that limit is not going to be up until 10:45 a.m. and now your entire flow is totally screwed up. This is not something you can really prevent too much when it comes to items with a lower buy limit, such as a 1 buy limit item, or maybe, honestly, most of the 2 buy limit items. But if you're flipping stuff that has 5 or 10 or something like that, then you can definitely force those. And especially if you're flipping something with 1,000, 10,000 or whatever, then you can instantly buy an item quickly, and that will start out your 4-hour countdown. That way you are doing it at 6 and then 10 and then so on and so on and so on. That way you're in line. So there's a couple options right there to solve that issue right there. So let's go ahead and get into something else too. Let's go ahead and get into why these buy limits matter. So first of all, you've got 30 days in an average month. So that means that we're looking at a 5 buy limit per day. And then that means, not another time. That means you're going to really be breaking this down into 150 buy limits. Now, as most things in life come into mind, when you break something down to the most simple way of understanding it, then you have a much better way of, understanding it. And then that way we can attack this problem of how much money can I earn in a 30-day period. The way that you're going to be able to optimize how much you earn is by breaking it down into what's actually going on. So we know we have 150 total buy limits if we're doing 5 a day. If we're doing 4 a day, that's totally fine as well. Then that is going to be equaling out to 120 buy limits in a month. If you are somebody with a busier schedule, then that means you might be doing 3. And if you're doing 3, you're looking at 90 buy limits. And if you're someone that just doesn't have that much time to flip, but you want to make sure that you get the most out of your day as possible, then there's not really much reason you won't be able to do 2 buy limits unless you just have like a very extreme situation. And that is equal to 60 buy limits per month. So now that we know how many buy limits per month we are going to be dealing with, the next thing we want to consider is, okay, let's say my goal is to make at least 1.5 billion gold per month. And I know there's probably a lot of people sitting there, they're like, dang, that sounds nice. And maybe some of you are already doing it. I know some of you watching this video will definitely be already doing that with BFC and Master Pass. And if you're not, then we'll definitely get you there. So looking at this, let's break it down to what that actually means. So what that means is 1,500 million per month means that we are going to have to make X amount per buy limit, right? Because that is how we're going to break this down to the most simple way of understanding it, and which is going to be the most effective route. So that means it's going to be 150 times what amount? So going by the example of 5 buy limits per day, that means we need to earn 10 million gold for every buy limit. That's not really that bad because that means that is 10 million gold you have to earn every 4 hours. That's only 2.5 million gold. That's literally only 2.5 million gold in the 4-hour period, or per hour. That's only 2.5 million gold per hour. That's not bad at all. You can honestly do that by doing abyssal demons. So for you to get to the point where you're making 1.5 billion per month, now that you really understand you're really only making 10 million every 4 hours, that's probably already sounding more doable to you. Which that ends up equaling about 50 million per day, by the way. So that's another way to look at it too. You're trying to make 50 million in one day, or you're trying to make 10 million for every buy limit. When we break this down a little bit further, and then we're going to go into you doing the 120, then essentially you're just doing the math right there. Let's go ahead and I'll bust out my calculator so I can do the math correctly here. So we have 1,500 million that we're trying to earn. We're going to divide that by now a 120, and that is 12.5 million. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong screen. 12.5 million. There you go. And then you're still going to be earning 50 million per day because there is 30 days in a month. So no matter what, that's also something to keep in mind too. You can do the simple math of just breaking down how much you want to earn, divide that by 30, and then that will tell you how much you are to earn per day. But I can tell you from experience and also from helping people with like one-on-one help for improving how much they're earning per day or per month, breaking it down by day doesn't actually help as much as you would think it would. And the reason why is because you can wake up in the morning and you're like, all right, I got to make 50 million by the end of the day. That leaves a lot of room for like error, procrastination. Maybe you thought you made more than you did. Oh shoot, it's 9 p.m. and I've only made 25 million. I have to make 25 more million before I go to bed. So that can leave with a lot of problems. So if you break it down into per buy limit, that is probably going to be an easier situation for you. And that's just my opinion on it. If you'd rather look at it on the daily basis, feel free. But for the sake of this video, we're going to be focusing more on the each buy limit because that is going to tie in to what I'm going to be showing you next. So, well, it seems I cannot scroll down. Insert page. Yeah, you know what? I don't really use Word anymore, so okay. You guys can come back to this. You can just like reverse this video a little bit. Just rewind this video a little bit. Maybe take a screenshot or whatever and keep this for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and go boom, and it's gone. Okay. So the next thing though, what are we gonna be talking about next? Let me hang on one second. Let me reset my my text, and you can tell this one's not going on YouTube because there's no editing. Welcome to live content, everybody. So how do you get those amounts though? So we know that going by 5 buy limits per day, then we need to get a total of 10 million per 4 hours. Right? Because that's going to give us our total of 50 million per day. So how do we get 10 million gold? So this is actually quite simple to reach the 10 million per 4 hour. And let me go ahead and explain that. So essentially what you need to do is you need to flip a total of 10 items that each give you 1 million gold. Or you can flip a total of 20 items that give you a total of 500K. You could also flip like 1 item that gives you 5 million and then add on another 5 items that give you 1 million. There's a lot of different ways to break that down as to how to reach the 10 million. Now that probably sounds a little bit obvious, but let me just kind of like open your eyes to maybe a couple things that maybe you didn't realize. So let's go ahead and look at Nox, for example. Nox is a very common thing we do. We do these pretty much every day in BFC. It's a very common thing because it's pretty much a staple of flipping. Nox is an amazing flip no matter what. Even when the margins shrink down to like 700K and we don't know why, it's still a good flip because it's 700K and we are going to make that money. And then other times, like while I'm making this video, we've seen margins of like 4 million for a Nox scythe. So Nox is going to be something that is going to be like your bread and butter. And also just a quick breakdown, even though I think I have written this in the flipping mastery section or somewhere else. Nox should basically be what you start out with that day, moving into ascensions. After ascensions, you're going to want to look at seismics. And then after seismics, typically it's going to be into Drygores if Drygores are posted. If Drygores aren't posted, then you can go into something else that might be some tier 85s. So, but the trifecta, the holy grail of your flipping staples should look something like Nox into Ascension into seismics. What that means is do all the Nox first, do all the Ascensions, then do all the seismics. And the reason why they're in that order is because that is typically the order of speed. Sometimes one of those can be faster than the other one, but not all the time and not usually. So that is kind of the order for those because that makes the most sense on the average. And also the Nox, the Ascensions, and the Seismics nearly always have very good margins. They're very frequently traded, but they're also low volume enough in order for them to produce very good results. So breaking that down, we're going to be looking at Nox. Nox can give you anywhere from 6 to 10 million. Let's see, I probably shouldn't put a dash there. Let me do this. That can give you any from 6 to 10 million a day on average, on the average margins on those bad boys. And then you've got the Ascensions here. Ascensions here are going to give you a total of 4 to 8 million per day. And that this varies greatly. And by the way, I'm assuming for assumptions here, in case you're like, how are you making 6 to 10 million on Nox? What that means is 2 scythes, 2 staffs, 2 bows. So I'm going with all buy limits for basically in order to get these numbers. So that means doing all the Nox during that 4-hour period will earn you 6 to 10 million on average. And then doing all the Ascensions, all 4 bows, because you can do 2 of each, will give you 4 to 8 million. These numbers are obviously subject to change. Some days the numbers will be way bigger. Some days they might even be smaller. This is just going by some averages right here. So stay with me. Seismics. Seismics, we're looking at probably somewhere between 2.5 and 4. And now I'm going to come down a little bit more because the things down here, I'm just going to go ahead and add these in here, even though I'm probably not going to show you in the calculations or whatever. Anyway, I'm saying too much. Let's look at Kopeshes. Kopesh is another thing that's a really great thing to do, and this is more for the Master Pass people. Master Pass people will get the Tier 92 weapons first, and that's because they donate amazingly high. I mean, very, very, very grateful for those people. And one of the benefits being Master Pass, you do get the Tier 92s early, and then we usually will bring those down to Master Pass, or sorry, to BFC after that. So if you're wondering, when do I see these types of items, Master Pass gets those first. So, Kopesh. Kopesh will usually earn you something around 20 to 30 million. And the reason why is because you can do 2 Tumekins, 2 Eladanus, and that will give you 4 Kopesh altogether. And the margin is something between usually 5 to 7 million on those. Some days it's more, some days not. So whatever, that's about the average right there. Serengabo, you're going to be making something around 10 to 20. And that's because you can flip 2 of those. ZGS is also going to be something around 10 to 20. And then we'll also talk about the Appraisals. So that is the Appraisal Wand and the Imperium Core. And that can be anywhere from 15 to 25 million on average for flipping both of those. You can do 1 of each, but the margins on Core is usually pretty nuts. Notice I'm not listing a lot of other things. I'm not listing I'm not listing SOS. Staff Sliske. I'm not listing a lot of other things. I'm not even listing Halloweens and Santas, and I'm going to come back around to that as to exactly why I'm not actually listing those, and you'll understand. So right here, this is what we have. This is what we've got for looking at this. So the reason why I've written these out is because and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this once again. You can just screenshot or whatever if you'd like to save that. So right there, we've got the fact that we need to get 10 million per day, so 10 million every 4 hours in order to get the 50 million per day, which is what we need for 1.5 billion. So what that means is you could do only Nox every 4 hours, and that would, on good margins, equal up to your 10 million per 4 hours. So you literally could flip Nox and nothing else and actually hit 1.5 billion per month. Chances are, though, Nox is not always going to have those perfect margins in order to get you to your 10 million. And I mean, honestly, right now, if you did what the current prices are for Nox, you'd be making more something like 30 million every 4 hours on Nox. It's pretty crazy. But there are other times where Nox will definitely give you 6 to 10 million, and sometimes it might give you like 5 million. So it really depends on the margins. Assuming that the margins are not quite as juicy as you want them to be, then just combine them with the Ascensions. Because remember how we went from, I don't know why I deleted that. Let me just go ahead and put that up real quick. So Nox to Ascensions to size. Okay, so you want to work down in that order basically. So Nox is Nox right there. And if you're like, okay, I did not earn my 10 million doing that, then simply extend to Ascensions. So you then do this. And so that means that by then you should definitely hit that 10 million. So there you go. That right there is quite honestly how you could earn 1.5 billion per month. It's really honestly that simple. You could literally just flip these bad boys right here, and that is all you'd flip, and you would actually get to where you're trying to go. But don't worry, this video is not that simple. Okay, so the fact that these guys right here make that amount of money, keep in mind what I said up here though, is you could use a lot of other items. It doesn't have to be these items right in this row. If you find that you really enjoy doing something like a Reaper kit, you like doing something like a Soul kit, all those other different items that can also produce very good results, like you like doing Cyber Wands, Cyber Orbs, you like doing, it doesn't matter, the Santas and the Halloweens, it doesn't matter what it is. Just understand that you're trying to get to that goal of 10 million. So really focus on the 10 million during that 4-hour period. If you focus on earning 10 million during the 4-hour period, it's going to be a lot easier for you to hit your goal than targeting the 50 million per day. Because you can be like, okay, good. I got my 10 million and I know I'm on track. I'm good for this day. You can also say, oops, I only made 6 million. I think I need to fix something. So understanding you need to fix something early on is much better than waiting until day 15 and being like, I only made 150 million in 15 days. This isn't really going as well as I thought it was going to. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. And if you do get to 15 day, I'm not saying there's anything bad about that. I'm not saying that in any way. I'm just saying that you can figure out something is wrong way, way, way sooner. You can also figure out, hey, this is how good I am at flipping, or this is how experienced I am at flipping, and I need to maybe spend some more time looking into some other items or reading some more guides in order to get me there. So let's look at something else now. Let's say, so everything we have on this page, by the way, is to hit 1.5 billion per month. If you would like to earn 3 billion per month. So please focus on trying to hit about 1 billion per month. And that was something that you should be able to get out of both BFC and MasterPass. 1 bill per month should be basically what you're trying to get to. That'll earn you way more than spending this kind of donation on bonds or whatever. So getting 1 billion per month is going to be absolutely fantastic for you, and I'll be very happy for you. Once you start doing that, then start working on these bigger tiers of 1.5 and then 3 and then 4.5 and then 6. So looking right here, if we want to earn 3 billion per month instead of 1.5, then we just switch this right here. We also just switch this. And there we go. Now we need to make 20 million. And I'll go ahead and remove that. Well, actually, no. I'm going to leave that. I think you guys can probably figure out what that's going to change. Obviously, this will be 10. This will be 20 times 1. This will be 40 times that. Yeah, you get it. So 20 million per 4 hours right there, or 100 million a day. So if that sounds like a much more intimidating number, right? You're like, if I'm sure there's some of you that have been sitting there and you're like, holy cow, 100 million a day? Like, I've never made that before. Don't worry. There was definitely a time where I said that. There's been a time where Manatee Gaming has been like, I've never even earned 500,000 a day. Yep, that happened. So everyone starts at somewhere, and you can definitely get to where I've got and beyond. It's definitely possible. I'm definitely no unicorn. Don't worry. So 20 million per 4 hours. Let's go ahead and break that down a little bit more because that's a big number, right? 100 million a day is a big number. If you sit there and start out in the morning, have your coffee, and you're like, I got to make 100 mil today, most are going to be like, well, crap. That seems like a lot. But when we break it down to 20 million every 4, okay. That seems a little bit more realistic. That still seems like a bit. That seems like that, that could be a little bit of money. Okay, let's bring it down even further then. That means now you need to make, let's go ahead and space this down. 5 million per hour. Look at that. Look at that. 5 million per hour is still equal to 20 million every 4. It's still equal to 100 million a day. It's still equal to 3 billion a month. So now that you're looking at something like 5 million per hour, that seems a lot more realistic, right? That seems like something much more obtainable. And once again, that is why I would really recommend trying to take this approach to this, because this will just be able to open your eyes to what you should be accomplishing on a micro scale. That way the macro looks a lot more doable, and you can also understand your efficiency on the macro level. So looking at this right here, we need to be able to get to 5 million per hour or 20 million per 4. So for simplicity, I'm going to go with the 20 million per 4. But remember to keep in mind you're trying to make 5 million an hour. So right here, we could do Knox. Knox could get us up to 10, right? So that's good. That's half what we need. Now if we did Knox and, oops, I don't know what I just did. Where's the undo button? Right there. Okay. So we've got Knox and then we've got Ascensions. That means we're going to be if we do both of those, we earn anywhere from 10 to 18, which is also extremely good. And now if we take in all 3 of these, look at that. We've now hit 20 million per 4 hours. That definitely will get us 20 million per 4 hours. In the occasion that does not get us the 20 million per 4 hours, like if we're at the lower end of those averages, or if it's just a situation where it's like, oh, the margins are bad at the moment. That's something else that can happen too. So, but usually you're going to hit your 20 million just doing that. You're going to get your Knox, your Ascensions, your Seismic. Remember that I told you that is basically the trifecta. That's what you should be focusing on doing every single day. Well, there you go. If you do them all every single day, you're going to be something close to 3 billion per month already just from those. If you do need to add something else in, remember that I talked about it where right here we continued on. It was like into Drygores and Tier 85s and whatever. There's definitely like a lot of other things you guys can substitute in there, especially if okay, flips fail sometimes, right? Flips fail. Every flip is not perfect. Every flip does not always go perfectly. If it did, then I would have like 500 trillion, and so would everybody else. So due to the fact that flips don't always go wonderful, it is definitely a good idea to not only keep Knox, Ascensions, and Seismic in your roster if you plan on doing something like 3 billion a month, because you're going to need to add in a couple other things. If you're going to be trying to do 3 billion a month, though, which is equal to 100 million gold per day, you can probably imagine that you're going to be earning money pretty quickly. You're going to be stacking up some good racks there. So you can come down here to the Khopesh, Sarangabo, ZGS, and Praisal world, and you can tap into this right here and very easily get to your 20 million per 4 hours. Finding these prices sometimes can be a little bit tough, and the prices can also change every once in a while. So these will take a little bit more getting used to than something like the Tier 90s would, but they're definitely worthwhile. The Sarangabo, for example, quite frequently can give you 10 million profit in one flip, which means you literally could just do two Sarangabos every buy limit with a good margin and end up getting 3 billion a month. It's not really realistic for them to be 10 million margins every single day for the entire month. That's not really realistic, but you know what I'm saying. You can use an item like that to single-handedly plow that down. Khopesh, I mean, honestly, Khopesh has a very good chance of being 20 million profit every 4 hours by only doing Khopesh. So if you add in these bad boys right here alone, you're going to be looking at something like 30 million per 4 hours. The only thing is with Khopesh though is Khopesh can be one of those things where they're very fickle, where they just don't want to buy, they just don't want to sell. So sometimes that's not always reliable, but you get the idea. Essentially stick to your trifecta here, and then also bring in some other items to make it more plausible, more doable. So let's go on to the next one, and essentially we're just going to go ahead and jump on up to the 6 billion per day mark.